Oh, it's warm. Hi, just a quick stream I thought might be interesting. I've been looking at this VBXE board, which was sent in for repair, primarily because there were some broken vias on the board, which is what we're looking at now. I've unearthed the crappy microscope out of the cupboard, which I haven't used on stream for about a year, so apologies for the quality. I'll try and make sure it's in focus. I think it's about as good as it's going to get. It's terrible because the stand is so flimsy that when you touch the camera to focus it, it actually moves. So by the time you let the camera go, it's not in focus anymore. But anyway, so the interesting problem, I didn't think that these trays, I can't find the schematic for the VBXE. I used to have a copy of it for the VBXE 2.0. That's gone. That's gone for a bit. I don't know where the hell that is now. And I can't find it online anywhere. So the first issue that I found, which turned out to be a bit of a red herring, if I can get this chip under the microscope. Here we are. This is a flip-flop. You can't even see the markings on it because the light's so bad, but it's a 74, I think it's LCX 574, which is a flip-flop. And as you can see, the corner of the chip, the corner of the package is actually chipped off. How this happened, I have no idea. I've got no reason to suppose that the owner of the board would have been messing around on the underside of the board such that they could actually knock off a corner of the chip. Were it just for this, I probably wouldn't have thought anything of it, but the trace underneath pin 1, which is the output enable pin, also looked a bit screwed up. So I replaced this chip. I didn't order one, I probably will anyway, but I actually took it off a spare board. Now this is an older board. It's U6, so that's where U6 would be. Now that I've got this under the microscope, I never thought to actually have a look. So the routing on this older board is completely different to the white board, because as you can see, pin 1 down here, which is output enable, runs straight down here, and it goes all the way around and round and round to this. It doesn't go there. I think it goes through the other side of the board. Who knows where that ends up? But on the newer board, it's much more difficult to see. The trace goes back underneath, and I think somehow, well, there's continuity to R25 anyway, the bottom pin of R25. But without a schematic, there's not much I can do. Now you can see how screwed up the pad is on pin 1. That when I took this chip, the other chip off the board, half of the pad was gone. I have no idea why. So all we got left is this part of the pad at the top here. So I replaced this chip, thinking that that was going to fix it, and it didn't fix it. The symptom, by the way, was that the machine was just black screening when it was turned on, the test machine. The person who owns the board had wired it up and damaged a few things, as you can see. The first thing I did was replace I put nice new connectors on the board, which I had to do because it's the only way to fit it in the test machine. So having replaced this chip had no effect whatsoever. So I then looked around. We'll turn this the other way up. May have to refocus a little bit. So these were I think this is the ISP header. So these are the top side of the two. Let's go on, get in focus. It's somewhere in the middle. There we are. So these are the two pins here and here that got screwed up on the underside. Now, I'm not aware of any situation which would require you to actually plug the programming cable into this board. The firmware is upgradable in situ, but I wondered if either of these two vias were actually a passing route for a signal to come up through the board and up to the top. And sure enough, on another VBXE board, which I was pinging out to try and see what was what, this pin here ends up going to pin 6 of which one is that? U10. In fact, all of these pins, this chip obviously handles the whatever it is you plug into here. So I jumpered this. It's not a very nice jumper, but it's a jumper. The lens needs to be cleaned on this as well. There's the light. Maybe the light's too bright. It's a bit washed out, isn't it? There we go, that's a bit better. It's not quite as bright. There we go. So, jump at this thinking that, hey, this would fix everything. And unfortunately, while I did get, because previously the D2 LED was flashing on and going out, and I think D2 signifies that the AVR is working, which kind of makes sense. So with this jumper in place, D2 stays lit, but the machine was red screening, so the operating system was crashing as it powered up. So I spent about 2 hours trying to locate the schematic and figure out what else might be connected to either of these damaged vias. I couldn't find anything, and obviously rechecked this chip, and it turned out after about a couple of hours that simply pushing down on the top of the antic chip in the adapter socket allowed the machine to boot. So there's something on these pins on the underside here. They look pretty good if I can get them at an angle. We can have a bit of a closer look. Now these things are actually the boards coming out of Atari shop now. Perhaps a return to that might make more sense. Are pretty good because I'm not sure if they used to be hand finished, but you'd have a lot of too much solder on these pins such that they wouldn't sit well in the socket that they had to plug into. But these ones look really quite nice. They've got kind of a dome of solder at the top, which is going to sit in that cup shape at the top of the socket. Well, having said that, these ones here are looking just a tad ropey, so they're going to sit proud. And the other problem, of course, could be that the adapter is bent. It's not bent anyway. They used to tend to be bent along their length, warped. but this one isn't. So we'll just have a look along to see. I'm trying to find out what the culprit is basically that's making this sit badly. That one's quite. Which one's this? These two here. So that's pins. That's the 7th and 8th from the end. They don't look too good. What else have we got? We've got some. That's not going to be a problem. What else have we got? It's hard to understand what the problem is actually. This should sit quite nicely in the socket, so we'll try and focus on the other row. And have a look here. What's this? What the hell is this? What the fuck is that? This board's been washed, so I don't know how that came from. Continue our search. I'm going to turn it this way and get more light. There they look really nice, but why? Why? Now that one on the end, that's a bit. I'm just gonna give these a general wick and see how we go. I think it's about all we can do. And hopefully things will just level themselves out. I've got this, this is a heat shield by the way, when I was using hot air on the board, because it will melt this plastic crap. This is fiddly. This should be clamped to the desk. That's not going to happen. Not under this microscope. I have to keep the thing down with one finger. Okay, that's the back row done. We'll see if we can do something with the front. Hopefully this will just make it enough of a subtle difference that the thing will work. It's really awkward doing this under the microscope. I'd normally just clamp it to the desk and put the glasses on. I think this one at the end was pretty high, wasn't it? So let's see if we can bring that down the side a bit. Well, it doesn't look a lot different, but let's see. Of course, these XL adapters are hard soldered to the VBXE now, so in the past I would have just tried a different adapter, but unfortunately I can't do that now without desoldering the entire assembly, so I'll try to avoid that if possible. Alright, so let's have another look. Well, that's a bit of a mess. The same test machine works with the brand new VBXE plugged straight into the same antic socket without any problems, so I'm just trying to avoid any issues when this thing goes back. That's better. Okay, let's get a little try. I think the antic socket on that test machine is a bit worn, I'll have to admit, but it just seems a bit odd that it doesn't work. So let's grab our test machine. Now if this boots up at all, we know it works, so we don't really need to look at the VBXE output, we just need to see if it boots, which is what we'll do. Wrong end. Ooh. Right. Okay. Okay. Capture cards decided to. Oh, fantastic. Oh, so the capture card doesn't work at the same time as the microscope. That would be kind of fun. Ah. Is it the capture card or is it the machine? Oh, God. Okay, let's try with the VBXE output. Switch sources. I'll switch scenes as well. Okay, it's still red screens, so that did no good whatsoever. It's really quite baffling. And I mean, it could work in the machine with a different socket in Antic, but then again, it might not, so it's a bit difficult to say. What I might do with it is what I could do with it is just thicken up those legs a little bit with a bit of solder around them. And if we compare this to the board that actually lives in this machine, they do appear to have in fact, this one, the one out of this machine, appears to have. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I would have said this one looks worse. Anyway, oh well, I'll just have to ruminate on that one a bit. I don't want to send it back with the possibility that it won't work, even if it is just the adapter. And this jumper, I don't know. I mean, it's okay. Maybe if I encase it in some epoxy or something, perhaps. Might as well stick this flip-flop back on this green board while we're about it. I don't think it's worth buying a new one. Ugh. Yuck. So yeah, it was a bit of a troll, that one. Fixed the primary problem and it still wouldn't work because of the adapter, or a combination of the adapter and the antic socket. One of the two. Hate lining these things. push down on it. Moved it, bastard. That's good enough. Trying to tack the four corners first. I don't care about the bridges, I just want the thing in position. Okay, it looks reasonable. There we go. Nice. It doesn't sit very flat. I'm going to push that down a bit with the hot air. Made that look really, really difficult with this microscope. I'll have to move this machine out of the way first. That looks better. It's flat now. Good enough. So this one will live to fight another day, although it has got the issue of the video going off. I'll let that cool down for a minute. Of the video not working when there's a side 2 cartridge plugged into an 0.1 megabyte machine, but anyway, so it wasn't worth spending any money on, but no one to talk to. Oh, I didn't change the title. Oh, god damn it. No wonder people think it's something I've already watched. Jesus Christ. That's annoying. Right, I've changed the name of the stream. God damn it. Habba Baba is watching. Hello. How are you doing? Is this cooled down yet? I guess it is. I could do with a little bit more solder in the corner. Nice microscope. Oh, it's honestly, it's kind of you to say so, but it's just cheap rubbish, really. It works, but it's not very nice. It's not even HD. It's actually 640 by 480. About, well, I'm lucky if it does about a dozen frames a second, I think. That's better. Yep, cheap does the job of making it bigger. Exactly. It's cheap, but it does the job of making it bigger. And I'm sure many Scandinavian sex shop vendors have said the very same thing as part of their sales pitch. It's cheap, but it does the job of making it bigger. So this one lives to fight another day as well. But yeah, ironic that it's much more difficult to put this, to just attach a chip using this microscope, because I'm far away from it. It was weird. I haven't used this thing for about a year. Okay, there we go. Let's have a little inspect of this. Ah, whoa, that's shorted to hell. Get rid of that. It just gets worse and worse and worse. Never ever known it takes so long to get a damn chip connected. So the microscope isn't really making my life easier at all. Yeah, that's really, really bad. It's just laughable. I thought it would be nice, you know, get the microscope out, do a bit of surface mount stuff. Well, just how not to do it. God, that's terrible. Well, I think that's got it out. Okay, I'm not even going to use this. I've returned from Denmark 2 hours ago and still in the Scandinavian mood. Ah, excellent. I've been to Denmark before, but I was only about 7. So I think probably the best aspects of the place were probably lost on me. That looks just awful. Really does. I'm going to rehook this. Oh, come back. Yeah, the pads look terrible. It's just a real mess. Just the field of vision is far too narrow. I would never normally zoom in this much. I think I got fooled by the fact that that's supposed to be shorted anyway, you idiot. Yeah, I'm an idiot. All that time spent trying to get this to look good and it was supposed to be shorted anyway. Oh well. It's kind of like when you play the guitar. It's kind of like when you turn the tape recorder on, as we used to do, turn the tape recorder on to record something. It never comes out well. It never seems to be as good as it was when the tape recorder was off. Well, that's the phenomenon we're seeing right here and now. very much the phenomenon we're seeing right now. Right, let's try that again. Right. That'll do. So I'm looking at the desk instead of the microscope. So I'm missing all the good stuff. Right, now that I know that this is supposed to be shorted inside, that's fine. What an epic journey. There we go. All nice. It only took about half an hour. Hi Brent. I like that microscope. What's the resolution? It's 640 by 480. It's over. It cost about a tenner or something. It's you can get a much better one. There's a fellow I talked to on Facebook. He got one. I think it was him who got one. He got one for which does full 1080p, but it doesn't have a USB connection. It just records onto an SD card. I think it's got a screen built in or something. Anyway, not sure. But yeah, it's not great. But anyway, it does make things bigger. Oh, that looks... I can't still be a short. Jesus Christ. Can't be. See, this is the trouble is the image quality is so bad that I can't actually see what I'm doing if I look at the microscope. And I can't look at the desk because the job's under the microscope. So, yeah. Yeah, they're not shorted. So the light's so awful, it makes it look like there's a short between those two pins, but there isn't. So it's... I can't recommend this microscope because the light's just bouncing around all over the place, and it's really awful to work with, to be quite honest with you. I'm only using it because I wanted you to see what was going on, and now I've done that, I rather wish I hadn't. So anyway, well, there we have it. Anyway, so interesting. So, which is the one with the jumper on it? So this jumper here, yeah, that's a single strand of copper wire. I think this needs to be a little bit more robust. I suppose we could. I haven't got any wire, insulated wire that's small enough to do the job, unfortunately. And if I try to improve it, I think I'm going to destroy it. It does not look very durable at all. Anyway, there we go. So that was, yeah, so that was a VBXE repair. That was a two-stage process. It works, but there's something about this test machine that doesn't like this board. It just does not want to sit well in that Atlantic socket. I'm entirely prepared to accept that it might be the age of the socket, but having said that, this board, which is brand new, lives in this machine and it works perfectly well. So there's something just a little bit unlucky about the underneath of this adapter. I've got a 600 XL. I can try this in as well just to see if it works in there, but I'm very loath to send the thing back until it just works, basically, in whichever machine it's put in. Something's not right with that. But if you push down on the antic socket, on the antic chip, it works. Very odd. And I can't, as I say, I can't change the adapter. Not that I don't think the adapter needs to be changed, but I would have just swapped this out, but I can't do that now, so because it's soldered to the board. So, oh, there's PG, late arrival. I'm just about to finish. It just missed me take half an hour to put a flip-flop on the underneath of a green VBXE. But, yeah. But no, this microscope here, proper look at it. I'll move this heat shield. It's yeah, it's cheap. I mean, you couldn't get any more cheap than that. Because I don't really use it that much. So if you're going to buy one, buy a good one. If I was doing really small SMD work all the time, I would definitely invest in a good microscope. But it's the reflections. It's awful if you. I think it's the position of the light in the end of the lens. It's like it's an LED light, obviously, and it just bounces all over the place, and you can't see what the hell you're doing. And if you turn it down, oh, actually, that's better. Ha! That's better. It's better with the light off. If only I'd realised that in the first place. Wow, that's amazing. We turn the ring light off on the damn microscope. Well, you lose a lot of detail, of course, but you just get rid of the reflections. So I don't know. It's so look at these capacitors. Wow. This looks much better with the light off. So these ones here, they look shorted, but there's actually those 3 pins are shorted anyway, and they all go to this common pad, common trace. But this is much easier to work with the light off. But of course, then when my hand goes at the side here, you can't see what the hell you're doing. So yeah, if you're gonna get one, get a good one, because this is awful. But there we go. Oh, this is, oh, blimey. Actually working on the wrong board as well. Okay, anyway, I'll get out while the going's good. So, yeah, that was something a bit different. So, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks to those who were here. And I will see you in the next video. Have a good weekend.